I'm gonna go. Welcome, everybody. It is so wonderful right now to be able to see everybody here, on this really warm afternoon here on, I think it's a Tuesday. So welcome, everyone. My name is Kimpong, and I am the CEO and founder of Strength Asia. Now, if you do not know about Strength Asia, we are an organization that's based here in Singapore, and the very core of everything that we do in Strength Asia is really helping organization here to create a culture of engagement here. And by culture of engagement, what we mean is, we help their leaders, we help your managers and your executives to become more impactful, more influential, more satisfied, more energized in the work that they do and in the relationship, with one another here. So once again, welcome, to our, talk series here entitled, the 4 Rs, of the new era here. And the new era here, being really about, the COVID season that we are currently in, and it's essentially, the post-COVID season that it's going to happen, sooner or later here. And so for today, it's really, the opportunity to be able to share with you, this third talk here of the 4 Rs in the new era. And we have spent, the last couple of weeks really talking about the first 2 R, and it's about re-envisioning our business, restarting our workplace culture. And today, we are talking about reframe. And the reframe topic really is about aligning purpose of self and organization. Now, reframe, essentially, it's about, taking a different perspective or taking a different position to view at the things that we see every day here, and to be able to reframe our life, reframe our work, reframe the things that we do. That is a really powerful resource that we can actually learn to begin to equip ourselves. Now, why do we choose this week's topic to be, reframe? Why is the third R reframe? Well, essentially, I want to draw, from my experience and my team's experience at Strength Asia, who has been running a program called the REFRAME MASTERCLASS over the last number of years, throughout Asia here. And the REFRAME MASTERCLASS, what is that? Essentially, it is a program that helps you and I figure out, what is our purpose in life, and in that process, acquire the capability to be able to, become more purpose-driven, more purpose-seeking in the things that we do, the work that we have, the relationships, that is in our lives today. And, the results show for itself. The people that came, from all over Asia, to this Reframe Masterclass, especially for those, that they apply what they have learned, and they become intentionally focused on their purpose, or they intentionally, focus on purpose seeking. What I found out is this, that all those people that came for the Reframe Masterclass, that applied them, they are actually, happier, compared to those people. They're actually happier compared to when they first came, right? And at the same time, they are a lot more resilient, a lot more creative, a lot more innovative, a lot more courageous in getting out there into the world to try new things, or to have the courage to stand up for what they really, really want to do, and beginning to experiment different things about their lives here. And my observation is this: people who actually are purpose-driven and purpose-seeking, they tend to have greater breakthroughs in their lives compared to other people. Greater success in their work, and essentially, the greater joy, in the relationships that they have. And one of the interesting things, that I realized was this, right? That as I begin to, understand what this whole, purpose is all about, I also begin to notice that the same thing is happening in the organizations out there. Now, organizations are doing really, really well. Organizations that are doing great and thriving, they are actually really soaring and doing excellently well in 2 departments, of their work here. Number one, it is their people at work, and the other one is their culture of work. People at work and culture of work. Now, for these organizations here, the people somehow, has this certain kind of steadiness about them, this kind of openness about them, to be very purpose driven, very purpose focused in the work that they do, and they somehow has this freedom, right, to dare to use work as a platform to get clearer on what their purpose in life, what their purpose at work is all about. And their culture of work, right, essentially it fosters and it creates the environment that empowers, and enlightens the people to be able to use their work, through their networks, through their relationships at work, and begin to get clearer on what the purpose is all about, what the meaning of work it is for them, every time they come to work every day. So today, there are a couple of things that I want to do with you. There are 2 questions I really want to help you answer regarding this whole idea of purpose aligning purpose of self and organization here. The first question is this, right? What is your purpose? Now, the second question I really would love to help you get some answers behind this is, how does work actually help you know your purpose? So let's start with the first question, right? What is your purpose? Now, I run many workshops, with many different organizations, throughout, all over the place, right? And one of the things I almost always do is to ask people the question, what is your purpose? And I realize, something really interesting here. When people comes to their own lives, they actually struggle in answering, this particular simple question, what is your purpose? If I were to ask you right now, what is your purpose? What would your answer be? So my observation is this: by and large, many people, when it comes to their own lives, they struggle with answering this question here. But when it comes to something that is outside of their lives, they somehow find that it's a lot easier to answer, what is the purpose. So for example, if I say, look, here's a hammer, what do you think is the purpose of the hammer? Well, the answer is that it's to hammer things, right? And if I say a screwdriver, what is the purpose of a screwdriver? Well, it is to screw things, right? Well, and because we know that for a fact, we know the purposes of these tools here, we'll never screw with a hammer and we'll never hammer with a screwdriver, isn't it? Why? Because we know the purpose of these tools here. We know why they are made, and we know, how they have been made, and we know, when they're supposed to be used in whatever situations there are. And purpose is exactly, the value of this, right? When you and I know the purpose of our lives, when we and I know the purpose of things, we can use this to great impact, with very, very focused intent here. So coming back to the first question here, what is your purpose? And then if you think about ourselves here, compared to the hammer or to the screwdriver, which is actually a very simple tool, it is not easy to really answer this question for ourselves, because as human beings, we are far more complex, we are far more, far more multifaceted, right? Compared to a simple tool like a hammer or a screwdriver. And that is the reason why it is so challenging to answer a question such as, what is your purpose? What is my purpose here? So the way to answer this is to understand something really a lot more simpler. So instead of asking, what's my purpose, ask the question first, what is purpose? What is the purpose? What is the definition of purpose, right? And once you understand that, it becomes a lot easier for you and I to be able to answer the bigger question, what is your purpose? So, purpose. There are three things about the definition of purpose. First of all, it's about what you have. Second, it's about where you go. And third, it's about what you do. So what you have, where you go, and what you do. Now let me help you explain this in a little bit more visual form. So imagine, right, you are a boat, right? You're a boat out in the ocean, right? And that's a boat, that's you, right? Now, what does a boat do? Well, a boat carries cargo, right? And that essentially is what you have. And what you have on this boat, the cargo on this boat, represents, your skills, your knowledge, your experience, your victories, your failures, your regrets, your successes. It's everything you know in your life, both innate, both trained, both acquired, and also acquired, right? So it's everything about your life that is on this boat. That's your cargo. Now, what do you do with a boat with this cargo? Well, the boat moves around, right? That's what boats do. It moves around. And if you notice this thing, right, this boat is moving around with no place to go. It's just going from all over the seven seas here, right? And metaphorically, right, what does this mean? It could mean that we kind of live our lives just with the cargo on our backs, and we're just moving from place to place. Or we go to work, we just report to work every day. We're going from meetings to meetings, place to place, client to client, and we are just all so busy, but we have no idea where we are going with that cargo. I mean, we are getting some things done on the ship. We're getting things, some things wrapped up on the ship here. But, we have no place to go. So what's missing here? Well, you need to have a destination, right? And this is where you go. And the destination here essentially is this, right? What is something that you intentionally actually plot into your life and say, hey, that's a destination that I really want to make happen. That's a destination that I really, really want to go. And in this case, the destination, what does it represent? It represents, all the different opportunities, all the different people. It represents all the different, exploration, all the different, things that you have done before and never done before. These are the things that you want to go and experience and try and interact and collaborate. These are the destinations here. So very often, right, if you don't have a clear intention of who you want to serve, what you want to do, where you want to go, very often we are just kind of like, like a bumper car. Right? We're just bumping from pillar to pillar to pillar. So the destination is really, really important. So with a destination, what do? You travel, from where you are to the destination. It is the harbor, that's your port of call here. And I remember reading something here, right, from a philosopher called Seneca, and he said something like this, right? A boat that does not make out its harbor, no wind, is a good wind. And similarly for us, right? For you and I, if we do not know what our destination is, no job is a good job. So you may feel that, hey, I'm just kind of like really frustrated with this job. I'm not energized in this job. Well, guess what? It may not be about a job. It may be about you not being clear on where are you going with a job. That's your destination. So, and by the way, going from where you are to the destination may not necessarily be a straight road, right? It can be a path that's all over the place, but at least you know where the destination is, right? So even though you and I, we may be going all over the place, right, trying to get to the destination, we are not lost compared to the first instance. The first instance, we were carrying the cargo, we were running all over the place, but we got no place to go. And potentially we could be really muddled up. But the second instance, you know what you have, you know where you go. It doesn't matter how long it takes there, but at least you have a destination to call your port of call. And because of that, you can bring what you have to the place or to the people or to the opportunities to do something about it. So you've arrived at the destination. Now what do? Well, you're going to do the third thing here, right? This is what you do. This is what you do with your cargo. You're going to unload your cargo and you're going to do some things about it. So this is what's going to happen. And I want you to count, or not count, I want you to observe what is jumping out from this ship here and tell me what is it that you can see, right? I'm not sure whether you're hearing the music here, but it's music that's playing around. All right, cool. So what have you seen, right? I mean, you probably have seen a dog jumping out, a clock jumping out, a heart, a justice scale, money, music, melody, and all that. And that's exactly what it is. When you are at your port of call, and the port of call, your destination, are people that you work with, things that you try, new opportunities that you're experimenting with, or things that you are, you love meeting up with, or people that you love meeting up with again. You begin to do work with people, you begin to interact with people, you begin to experiment with this thing at the port of call with everything that's on your cargo. And when you're doing all these things, well, you begin to create value for people. You begin to create, maybe opportunities for people, money for people, income. You begin to create joy, relationships, music and all that for people. That is essentially what you do. And every time when you're able to know what you have, where you're going, and what you're doing, and in that process, you create value for people, there lies your purpose, right? Purpose essentially is this. It's about you using what you have, where you're going with it, to your port of call, and what you do about it that creates value for people and for yourself. And when you are doing all that, it really energizes you here. So remember that, what you have, where you go, and what you do. However, this is not just it. So that destination is not just the only destination, but there's going to be many, many other different destinations, right? So at your workplace, it's not just one thing. It's going to be many multifaceted things that you're going to be going from port to port, call to call, right? And this different destination, this different intention, this different plotting of setting the direction as to what you want to see about what you have, where you go, and what you want to do becomes a lot more clearer, right? As you go from different destination. It's going to take us a lifetime to figure out. And this is something that I really want to share with you guys. You can never ever know what is the single purpose of your life. If you're trying to find out one single purpose in your life, you're going to be sorely disappointed. Because I think for us being a human being, right, we actually have the capability and the ability to be purposeful in many different things. And actually, it's going to take us a whole lifetime to get clearer on what our purpose is, as opposed to knowing what our purpose is. Does that make sense? Yeah. So work does these things for you, right? It helps you figure out, what you have a little bit better. You have to figure out where you want to go, who do you want to meet. You're using the resources of work, the networks and all that to try out different things here. All right, let's move on. So, reframe. What is your purpose? Again, refreshing again, these three things: what you have, where you go, and what you would do. Now, the second question is this, right? Now, how does work then help you know what your purpose is? Well, to answer this question, right, I realized that, we actually have to we have to answer a second question that's a little bit a notch down, right? So the question is, who are you at work? So who are you, at work? What is how do you see work, for you? So for example, are you this person here? So are you a tourist at work? Well, if you're a tourist at work, then it's quite likely that there's going to be not much commitment to the workplace. There's not going to be a lot of, dedication to the people in there, because a tourist, what do? A tourist goes to a place, take what they want, do what they love, and then leave the place, right? They kind of avoid all the nasty stuff. They kind of avoid, all the things that are not so fun. They only just want the juiciest part, the best restaurants, the cheapest things or whatever. So if you're a tourist, it is quite likely that the workplace may not mean anything for you other than just to, get out there, do your work, and just get out, right? So are you a tourist? The second thing here is this, right? Are you a prisoner, right? Are you a prisoner? And if you're a prisoner at work, then essentially you see yourself as, oh my gosh, I got no choice. I don't have the ability to make any decisions. Whatever I do, I got to look at the boss's face to do it. I don't feel recognized in my job because prisoners are not noticed. If you ever notice this, I can't learn what I want to learn. I can't do what I want to do. And I apologize for all the sound that's going out there. And I can't do what I want to do. I can't learn what I want to do. It is about. It's like, I'm forced, to do laundry. I'm forced, to do woodworking in the prisons, right? So if you're a prisoner, you kind of see that, hey, life is no fun. I'm doing a 9-to-5 job, and that's all I'm supposed to do. Or the third one could be this. Are you this? Are you a terrorist, right? Now, this is even more scary. Now, if you think you're a terrorist, right, what does a terrorist do? Essentially, you go to work and you do nothing but just complain. Or you do a lot of complaining, you do a lot of challenging people, you're kind of tearing people down, you're kind of like, disagreeing with this, disagreeing with that. You don't know why, but you just feel so angry, you just feel so dissatisfied, you just feel so de-energized or whatever, right? And constantly you are just challenging people all over the place. So are you a tourist? Are you a prisoner? Or are you a terrorist? I hope you are not, but I certainly hope that you will be one of the next few characters here. Thinker, friend, teacher, student. So are you any one of this? Are you a student at work? Are you a teacher at work? Are you a friend at work? Are you a thinker? Are you a learner? Are you an adventurer? Or are you a dreamer at work? Why is this so important? Because who you say you are, determines your workplace for you. Who you say you are at work, who you say you are at work determines your workplace for you. And what you say about your workplace, determines how your workplace can actually help you get clearer, in your purpose, in your life purpose. Now, if you see, your workplace as a tourist, right, then essentially your workplace is just a place where you go spend a couple of hours, and when you leave, you totally forget about it. You're just there to just play your golf game, you're there just to do your shopping, and anything other than that, you're not interested. You're not only interested in the good, but the bad, you're gonna chuck it away, right? Or, if you're a prisoner, then your workplace is a prison. Now, there's no growth in prison. Who wants to be in a prison? There's no freedom, there's no empowerment, there's no entitlement, right? So if you see your life as that, then essentially your company really signifies for you as something as being in that cage box here. And the last one really is this, right? Do you see yourself as a terrorist? Because if you see yourself as a terrorist, then essentially your workplace is a war zone, right? Every day you're out there to fight a war. And who actually thinks about purpose? Who actually thinks about the meaning of life when you're actually fighting a battle every day? But if you somehow, see yourself, hey, I'm a student, I'm a teacher, I'm a friend, I'm an adventurer, I'm a learner, I'm a dreamer, I'm a thinker, at work, then essentially, right, you are actually, the greatest student of your own life. You are open, you are curious, and you are actually very willing to take work as it is and to teach you everything you want to know about your own life here. And essentially, if that is your case, if you are the student of your own life, then work becomes this for you. Welcome to the University of Life. So work, essentially becomes the University of Life for you. Now, if you go to university, right, you go to some professor's class, some you love it, some you hate it. And that's what work is, right? Work comes with the good, the bad, the beautiful, and the ugly, right? Everything about work, it's like the University of Life. Work, university, gives you the opportunity to experiment. It gives you the, the opportunity to try new things, make new friends, go to new places here. Work is the University of Life for you. Now, the way to reframe about work here is this, right? Essentially is this. What is work? Well, first of all, there are three things that work can do for you. But before I show you that, I'm going to share with you what work could mean really for you. If you think about that, work actually is a paid platform in which somebody has just paid you the job. Somebody has just paid you to do the job, and in the process given you the opportunity, and given you, the company's networks, the company's people, the company's clients and all that, for you to figure out, the greater meaning of what your work is all about, for you to figure out what your purpose in life is all about. Does that make sense? Somebody is actually paying you a salary. Somebody is actually paying you money to do jobs, for them. And in the process, allow you to use all that as a University of Life to get clearer on what you have, where you would go, and what would you do with everything that you have here. And there are three things that work does this for you. Number one, work creates capacity for you. It gives you money. So very often people will say, I work because I have to, because it's survival. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's a prisoner's mentality. Right? I can't help it. I'm doing this for money. Well, if you reframe it and think it a little bit differently, right? It's not that. When you work creates financial capacity for you. And where there's financial freedom, right, there's also the margins of time here. Obviously, many of us wants to become financially independent, right? But when we work, it actually gives us some degree of financial freedom to be able to do certain things that we want to do. Now, those things outside of work, those things within work, it actually gives us that space to get clearer on what our purpose looks like or sound like. The second thing that work does for you and I is really about, it gives you the capability. Work is really, that great resource. It's really that amazing place where you learn all your skills and you acquire all your experiences and all your knowledge. Everything I know about, learning how to do PowerPoints, Excel spreadsheet, Microsoft, this and that, I learned all this at work. How to write a piece of paper, how to present ideas to people, how to negotiate, how to influence people. I learned all this at work. Now, this is not just for you to do the job that somebody paid you. This is somebody that's paying you to learn all these skills to do the job, but at the same time, you can learn all these things, for your own life's purpose. Now, think about that, because that is a powerful idea here. And the third thing that work does for you, essentially, is this, right? Work gives you the context. It gives you the people, it gives you the places to experiment, to interact, to collaborate, to cooperate together, to do things so that you begin to serve people. Now, purpose happens when you begin to create value for people, and when you are able to be at a work, you see all kinds of people, the good, the bad, the ugly, right? And if you're someone who is a student of life, you will take on all these different kind of people, with utter openness, with utter curiosity, with utter courage and resilience here. Why? Because you're trying to find out, hey, what are some of the people that I can't work well with, and why can I do better in that, right? Instead of just, I don't like you people, I'm going to run away. Abraham Lincoln was the one that said, right, I don't like that man. I got to learn how to, I want to learn to know him better. Now that is a student of your own life. It's about being curious about, what is it that repels you? Learn about that. What is it that draws you? Learn about that so that you can become better in what you have and what you do and who you serve here. So that's the context. So when you put all these three things together, capacity, capability, and context, through work you begin to do all these things. Work begins to reveal, the purpose of your life. Now the purpose of your life essentially is this: because of what you have, where you want to go, and what you do, what is the value that you bring to yourself? What is the value that you bring to people? And this is really interesting, right? If you think about it, if you have capacity and capability, that essentially describes for you, what you have, right? Capacity and capability is equal to what you have, which is, that little thing on the board just now. And the second thing is, if you look at capacity and context, that's where you go, right? These are the people, these are the opportunities that you would have served, or these are, the exploration that you would have gone to. And the third one, the capability and context, right? This is what you do, with the skills that you have, with the experiences, with the knowledge. You go do what you do best with the people in places at the right time, at the right place here, right? So this is really, really interesting. So coming back here, reframe. The first question that we asked was this, right? What is your purpose? Well, to answer the question, it's not going to be a straight answer, but today you got three simple, guidelines to help you figure out what is it that you have, what is it that's been given to you, the skills and knowledge, your natural giftings and all that. Number two, where you go. Who are the people that you're going to serve? What are the places that you're going to go? What are the things that you're going to try, that you've never ever tried before? And the last one is what you do. How are you going to use the very best of who you are, what you have, to do the things in the way that only you know how, and figure out how can you do them even better, and figure out what are some things that you love, what are some things that you don't like, what are something that you hate, what is something that, that naturally draws you here. So figure out all these things, because as you know what you have, where you go, and what you do, hey, you become a lot more clearer on the value that you bring to other people around you. And the second one here essentially is this: how does work help your purpose? So very quickly, let's recap again. It's about knowing your capacity, right? It's about creating capability, and then it's about, going out there to serve your context here, right? And at the end of the day, it begins to review the purpose in your life. And with all that, it tells you what you have, where you go, and what you do here. So it's 3:28 right now. We are 2 minutes to 3:30 here, and that's it. That's the talk that I'm sharing with you, aligning purpose of self and organization here. So for those of you, that found, what I'm saying kind of resonates with you, and you say, hey, look, how can I know more about this? How can I know more about this whole Reframe Masterclass thing? Well, come join us, right? On the 31st of August to the 28th, on the 31st of August to the 2nd of September from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., we are conducting our online, masterclass here. And for those of you that have signed up, we are going to be sending you, the information as to where you can find out more information. And for those, that are on Facebook right now, essentially we're going to post the information on Facebook. So come on back in onto Facebook later on to access the information, and you'll know, how to sign up and where to go and how much it costs you. Okay, so with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming. I wish you, a really, really good, week ahead. It's only Tuesday, so have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and eventually a weekend. Yeah. So take care. Bye-bye.
Think I'd try this a new way. I'm gonna show you the tricks that I know. I'm getting tired of talking, and I need more of a show right now. It's time that you made your mind up. Lately all it ever does is change. Feels like we're only talking